It's the
Shubhada, Joshi, Sandeep Nair, ನಾ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ನನ್ನ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ ಸರಿ ಐತಲ್ಲ. ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಚಪಾತಿ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಂದೀಪ್ ನಾಯರ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಅವಲ್ಲ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಬಂದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ.
Hello, Batra.
hello.
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, everybody is waiting for you, right?
Thank you.
But sir, please ask all the persons who have joined to mute.
ಹಾಂ
Okay.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡದೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ನೀವೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ಸರಿ ಸರ್. ಎಸ್.
ಓಕೆ. ರೈಟ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಇದು ನಯ್ಯರ್ ಅವ್ರು ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ?
ಹೌದು, ನಯ್ಯರ್ ಅವ್ರು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಓಕೆ. Right, 6 o'clock we can start.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Good evening, Jitendra sir.
How are you?
Fine, sir. How are you, sir?
Very good, very good.
So nice to see you, sir.
Nice to see you as well. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. It is morning there, I think.
Yeah, it is morning, 7:30 in the morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we have a lot of snow in the ground. If you want to see.
Oh, great. Acha. Here it is hot summer, sir.
Yeah.
It is
I wish it was less warm here.
32 degree in Belgium.
Oh, 32 degree. Here it is. Yeah, it is below 0 degrees Celsius.
Oh my God. Okay. But sir, request all the viewers to go for mute.
Yes.
But sir, I am here.
Yes, sir. I request everyone to mute themselves. Sir, should model. We can say. Name is 6 minutes. You can start, sir. 6. Jai Shri Gurudev. I am Subramanya Bhatt from ACPR, that is Academy of Comparative Philosophy and Religion, Belgaum. On behalf of ACPR, I welcome each and everyone to this maiden session of web series. As you all know, it is the concept of global village in vogue now. So the digital media is the way to connect everyone. ACPR, in its endeavor to extend the mission and vision of ACPR and its founder, Shri Gurudev Dr. R.D.Ranade, has started this web series. I solicit the wholehearted cooperation of all the members of this web group in extending the mission of ACPR. Now I request Dr. Sandeep Nair, a renowned educationist, scholar, and a professor from Chanakya University, Bangalore, to introduce and welcome the web gathering. Nair,
Namaste. Namaste. Thank you, Subramanya Bhatt. It's indeed a privilege to be here, to be a part of this conclave, to welcome you all to the maiden session of the web series lecture being sponsored and introduced by Gurudev Ranade's Academy of Comparative Philosophy and Religion. We are indeed privileged to have with us a very senior professor and academic, Professor Dr. Shubhada Joshi, Madam, with us. As we know, ACPR seeks to integrate the essence of global religions into one understanding of humanity. It also seeks to bring to life the gap between the rituals to the metaphysical of religions. In this context, we are very happy to introduce various programs in trying to bring religion into common everyday living and practices. May it be metaphysics to rituals. In this context, trying to make things more simple for the members and common public, this introduction of web series is an important milestone in the journey of ACPR. I welcome you all for this. And today, who better than Professor Dr. Shubhada Joshi, Madam, to give us the maiden session of this web series. A brief introduction of Madam Professor Shubhada Joshi. Professor Shubhada Joshi has been a teacher and a practitioner of philosophy for 40 years. Having taught in Mumbai University for over 31 years, she graduated in 75 with a gold medal in philosophy. Her thesis and research has been on Lokayata, an Indian essence of philosophy and meta ethics. Madam has guided numerous students to research and PhD. Over 28 students have been guided for PhD under Madam's guideship. Apart from being an academician, Madam Joshi has also been on the panel of corporate like Hindustan Lever in understanding corporate ethics. She's been a part of the empaneled member of UGC, ICPR, and numerous other organization and academic association as a reviewer and a consultant. Having presented and published numerous papers in international and national conferences, Madam has guided and mentored thousands of students. Are widely traveled across the world in the quest for philosophy and spreading Indian philosophy and knowledge. Madam is an authority on contemporary philosophers including J. Krishnamurti and Sri Aurobindo. Madam, it's indeed an honor to have you inaugurate this session. We welcome you and thank you all. May we have an enlightening session. Thank you, Madam. Namaste.
now I request Dr. Shubhada Joshi Madam to deliver her lecture.
Not audible.
ಸರ್
Ma'am,
ಮೈಕ್ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು.
madam, please. Shubhada madam, please unmute. Shubhada madam. Hello. Shubhada madam.
Madam on phone. Shubhada madam on phone.
Madam. Unmute ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ sir ಅವರು.
Now, am I audible now?
Yeah, ma'am.
Now
Yeah.
you are audible.
Yes,
Please.
very
Yeah. Now my voice will be clear.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Sorry, there was some problem.
Okay.
I will just begin.
Please, ma'am.
So I said my namaskar to all of you and my greetings also. Extremely thankful for this invitation which you extended to me, and this invitation has come to me through Advocate Jerli sir. So Jerli sir, thank you very much. It's a very difficult task to speak before the audience who has studied philosophy of Gurudev Ranade. Not only studied but also all of you are practicing the lessons which Gurudev Ranade has taught, because all of you are sadhakas. So when I expressed this particular difficulty while talking to Advocate Jirli sir, he said he would like to have in my lecture something about the contemporary lifestyle and the importance and need of Gurudev Ranade's philosophy. So I have gathered all my courage to speak in front of the sadhakas, because I am not a sadhaka. I have studied philosophy of Gurudev Ranade. I have taught philosophy of Gurudev Ranade, but I know that there is a lot of difference between studying it academically and then practicing it as a sadhana. So when we were discussing, myself and Advocate Jirli, he also suggested that something which I may speak, inspiring the young generation and the young people. I don't know whether the young people also are the sadhakas, or the young people who will be joining this particular session who want to know about Gurudev Ranade. For me, as a student of philosophy, his work is of tremendous importance, because in philosophy we find people who have taken empirical standpoint, thinkers who have taken idealistic standpoint or rationalistic standpoint, but there is not a single philosopher who, along with reason, experience and concern and commitment, is speaking about the secrets of Vedas, Upanishads, and the saint literature, and to which the name is given is philosophy of God realization. And he is Professor Ramachandra Dattatreya Ranade, or as is fondly addressed and appropriately addressed as Gurudev Ranade. But while teaching in the university, we have to put it before the students as Professor R.D. Ranade, because he was a professor of philosophy. And what is significant is that he was invited as a professor to Allahabad University by a very equally eminent Sanskrit scholar, and he was Sir Ganganath Jha. He wrote a letter to Professor Ranade requesting him to join Allahabad University. And you know all very well how long he was in Allahabad University. He became the Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University. He retired as the Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University. I happened to be there in Allahabad University as in one of the programs, and then as an expert also, where I met Professor S.S. Roy, who was the disciple or who had taken initiation from Gurudev Ranade. And he told me a very interesting story when I met him. And he said that he just was taken by one of his relatives to meet Gurudev Ranade. And the relative said that, well, I will take you to a great saintly personality who works in academics. And he is a person who has not eaten any solid food for so many long years. So we'll just go and have his darshan. So that is how Professor S.S. Roy went to have a darshan of Gurudev Ranade. He was then just a student. He had appeared for his graduate examination, and he wanted to clear his ICS examination. At that time it was ICS because India was still not independent country. It was the British rule. So it was not IAS examination but ICS. And when he was sitting in front of Gurudev Ranade, Gurudev just asked him, what are you doing? So he said, he told Gurudev that he just has he just has appeared for his graduation and waiting for the result, and at the same time also wanted to clear his ICS examination. Gurudev told him that to take admission for the MA course. But he said, I want to go for administration. Gurudev said, okay, no problem, but still, you take admission for the MA course in Allahabad University. And once your ICS examination entrance result is out, if you want to, you can join that course. And you know what happened is the result of ICS entrance examination was declared, and S.S. Sharma got the 9th rank. And then it was 1942, it was the war, Second World War, and it was announced on All India Radio that only first 8 rank holders will be admitted for training, and all others will not be able to join the training of ICS curriculum. So that is how S.S. Roy could not join that particular administrative training, and he had to join philosophy department for his master's degree. But the story is further interesting, and he said when he became the head of the department of Allahabad University philosophy department and he was going through the past records, he came across the writings and notifications and some points mentioned by Professor R.D. Ranade, where Professor Ranade had mentioned about this particular meeting, and what he has written was very, very surprising, as it was reported by Professor S.S. Roy, that today I had interviewed the future head department of philosophy of Allahabad University. That was Professor Ranade. And Professor S.S. Roy was very much overwhelmed with emotions when he was reporting this to me. So, as a professor and as a vice chancellor of Allahabad University, and then as a professor of philosophy who has put forward a very unique type of philosophy, philosophy of God realization, philosophy which speaks about intuition, philosophy which speaks about Guru and the unique position of Guru, philosophy which speaks about sadhana, and philosophy which speaks about the effects which take place once a person enters into sadhana with the grace of Guru. A person, a professor of philosophy, explaining it rationally, logically, and giving the verification principles for the philosophy which he has put forward. So that was very, very significant for me as the student of philosophy, because the philosophy of Vedas and Upanishads, when is taught at the BA and MA, always the questions used to raise for its relevance and also the truths and the claims which are made, and answers one could find in the writings of Professor R.D.Ranade. Professor R.D.Ranade, who wrote on, and you all know how extensively he wrote on. What is very significant is that he wrote not only about the Vedas and Upanishads, but he also wrote about compositions of saints and able to show the continuity of the philosophical legacy right from Vedas, Upanishads up to almost the medieval period, about the method and the philosophical problem, the God realization and the steps of God realization which are explained. So, how is it that when I was discussing it with students, I was discussing it, how I could share it. I just would like to say that in his philosophy, what we find is the deep Vedic belief reiterated that we all human persons, we are born divine. Every human person is potentially divine. As it is said, Amrutasya putraha vayam. We are all potentially divine. And this doesn't mean that only the followers of Hinduism are potentially divine. Whosoever is born as a is potentially divine. We have infinite potentials, capacities, which remain unmanifest. And all these potential capacities, they are like a corn, Vatavruksha Bija. They still have not manifested into Vatavruksha. And for the manifestation, what is required is practicing the philosophical steps which are laid down by Professor R.D.Ranade, or we may call him now Gurudev Ranade. So, what is very important is to believe that yes, we can do it. Young people should have this particular belief in the capacities, that irrespective of the tentative defeats or the tentative failures, actually whosoever keeps on putting efforts along with the following on the path of divinity is bound to get success. So what is very important is preparing oneself. What is important is that the efforts which young students or young people have to take in receiving or in achieving that excellence which is already potentially there.
Audio problem iತ್ತು. Madam? Phone ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ.
Not audible.
I'm trying her on phone. I think there is a connectivity issue. She's left. I think she is coming back.
But uncle, you have to stop calling her because her internet will not get connected if you call her normal.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
She has left. I think she may rejoin.
Yeah, she might rejoin. Give her a WhatsApp call if it's possible.
I will try.
Uncle, ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ normal call ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ.
No. Formal call I have tried. Now I am trying WhatsApp call.
Excuse me, I am Dr. Priya Vaidya. I have tried to contact Joshi ma'am. A relative's number is with me. So she conveyed to her that there is a problem. Yeah, she will look into it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, Jirli sir. Till then, can you say a few things about ACPR or Gurdev? Until
Hello,
she joins.
Good evening to everybody. Good evening to everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Am I audible?
Now you are audible.
Yeah, please.
Because somebody complained that I'm not audible. That's why I kept on asking, am I audible? But I couldn't get a reply.
No, just now you are audible.
Okay.
Very much audible, ma'am. You can continue,
Thank
please.
you. Okay, thank you. So what I was telling you is that man is standing on the threshold and has a capability of being either divine or capability of being either devil. And there lies the importance of moral preparation, which Prof.R.D.Ranade has emphatically stated in his philosophy of God realization as one of the very, very significant steps for preparing in order to even find an appropriate guru. And moral preparation, in the words of D. Krishnamurti, is like sweeping the floor, brooming it, cleaning it, and then opening the windows and allowing the fresh air to come in. Preparing oneself with moral goods, moral teachings is very significant. And this, I think, is very, very significantly brought out in the Vedas and Upanishads. Gurudev Ranade mentions it, but I thought that let me put my thoughts to this learned audience and get your feedback. So this idea is that Nara becoming Sura or Nara becoming Asura. The great example is Rama, born as a human person, becoming Sura, and Ravana, born as a human person, king, learned, scholar, yet he lacked that criteria of moral excellence and therefore was always addressed as Asura. So what is important is, apart from wealth, apart from good teachings, apart from the academic excellence, money, is the moral preparation and good conduct, because that is the real wealth which enables man to have further journey conducted. And Gurudev Ranade in his philosophy puts it as one of the very essential steps in the philosophy of God realization. Not only Gurudev Ranade, but he keeps on mentioning the drishtantas of saint literature as well as the Vedas and Upanishads. So let me put forward my view about this. You know, this idea that moral excellence is very important is put in Vedas first, saying that Rita, that is the moral order, is very significant and it is important for the elevation of human person. Now, what is Rita? Rita is actually the order which operates in the universe. And Rita is of two types. Rita as the moral one, the moral principle, and Rita as the cosmic principle. The cosmic principle Rita is called Mahan Rita in Rigveda. Mahan, that is, it covers the entire universe. That is the Mahan Rita, the universal order. And what is this universal order? It is this universal order which we may call it Srishti Chakra. It's the circular order. The entire universe is operating like a wheel. It's the recurrence of the natural phenomena with a regular interval is actually Mahan Rita. For example, the seasons. They follow a regular order and they come one after another in regularity. Similarly, all other natural elements. Now, we learn in our schools that there are circular operations or the cycle of oxygen, the cycle of carbon dioxide, so on and so forth. The cyclic nature of the natural phenomena, and that the cyclic nature is very significant, and it is this cyclic nature which is to be protected. Now, to be protected by whom? And to this, the Vedas Upanishads say that this is to be protected by human person, because human person is endowed with not only 5 sense organs, but it is endowed with manas, that is mind, Apart from manas, also has intellect, that is buddhi. We may call it this buddhi these days also is translated as consciousness, which is something more than intellect. So buddhi, which is a very significant part of personality of a man or human person, it distinguishes human person from other animals. It is this buddhi and the mind, that is the capacity to have desires. But along with buddhi and manas, there is also the third principle operating within the human person, and that is ego or ahankara. It is a very strong sense of me and mine. It is my buddhi, it is my body, it is my desire, it is my me, mine. And human person is able to express it through language and is also able to influence the outer world because of buddhi, that is because of consciousness, because of desires, and because of the very strong awareness of oneself. And that is called ego or aham, ahankara. Aham in Sanskrit means me, mine, I. So this me, mine feeling also is very important. Now what happens is that because of this buddhi, ahankara and manas, human person is capable of violating that mahandrita, the natural order, the order which operates within the nature. All the Pancha Mahabhutas also are governed by the natural order, Prithvi, Aap, Tej, Vayu, Akasha. All these are governed. And this capacity to violate the natural order is not there in the animals, because they may have some awareness, some desires, but they definitely are lacking that buddhi or that consciousness which a human person has, and a human person can decide one's future with ego, that I will protect future of mine, my family, my children. Here comes me and mine. And then it is my pleasure and my desires. And there the whole awareness of ethics changes. It is not the case that we as human persons are not aware of what is good and what is bad. But it is what is significant is that when this me, mine, my consciousness, my future, my desires, when all this comes into, then we start twisting the moral principles. So here comes the first violation or break to the natural order, and that natural order is violated because of the moral order. So, not to violate the natural order is basically the rule. And that rule, it says that one has to really be selfless. And therefore, in Indian philosophy, what is stated as a general rule is that one has to be duty-centric. One has to be really kartavya parayana. One has to really give up all the clinging and all the fascination for pleasure. The life is not for enjoyment. The life is not for pleasure. The life is to perform the duties. We are here because we have been gifted with one of the best things, and the best things are like we are endowed with buddhi. It's a huge storehouse, consciousness, and human consciousness is the modern area of study, which is taken by scientists, the natural scientists, along with the social scientists, and it is the interdisciplinary area of study. So it is the human consciousness. And it is this human consciousness, when is used in an appropriate manner, then the journey from Nara to Sura is possible. When we are able to control all our passions, anger, desire, and ego, then our journey from Nara to Sura will be possible. Even our journey to search for the appropriate guru also would result into a successful mission. We may, because of our Purva Sukruta, we may be able to get a guru, appropriate guru. But to follow the teachings of appropriate guru and to follow the teachings, one has to be really very ethical. So, what is important is that when we talk about this Rita Mahan and Rita as the moral order, and it is forgetting the pleasure-centric approach and importance to paying debts. Indian philosophy believes that we are born in debts, that the Srishti has given to us, the universe has given to us so many things that we have to pay back those things. Then only as a human person, our life will be successful. So, what is that? The first runa is that we have to pay, is Matru Pitru Runa. And Matru Pitru Runa doesn't mean that we have to really just obey the parents. Obeying the parents may be the just primary stage of it. But we have to start a family. We have to marry, start a family, have children, and we have to upbring the children in such a way that the children also would be ethical and children also would be able to reach that particular goal which only human persons can reach. Possibility of becoming divine is there only for a human person. It's not there in any other jiva. And that is why Naradeha Nidhana Labhale Hati, that we are given this human body and we are very, very fortunate that we are born as human persons. So, what is very significant is that we are born as human persons. We are here and therefore we really have to make very good use of our human life. So, we have to have a family, children, and we have to see to it that our children also become ethically aware and constantly throughout the life ethical. There is no holiday in ethics, and one really cannot ask very meaningfully the question, why should I be ethical? The only answer is that we are born as human persons and therefore we should be ethical. I think this is very, very significant, that we are born as human person and therefore we should be ethical. These days when I used to talk to my young students, they always used to ask me, but in the corrupt society, how is it that and why should we be ethical? Why is it that the burden is on our shoulders that we should be ethical? I said, think of the society where everyone is corrupt. If everyone is corrupt, then in the corrupt society, actually there is no pleasure, there is no place for happiness for the human persons. Because nobody actually thinks of others. Everyone is selfish. Now, you are all learned people. I don't have to explain it any further. My only point is that the importance of Rita and protection of the moral order, and thereby that the Mahan Rita is protected, is laid down and actually is Gurudev Ranade has referred to it in his writing on Vedas and Upanishads. But I thought that this should be elaborated with with much emphasis in the present context. Because present context, what we want is happiness. Present context, what we want is that sukha. We want marks. We want marks because we want admission in a good college. We want admission in a good college because we want a good career. We want to join medicine. We want to go for engineering. We want to go for IIMs. We want to go for blah, 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 for which we want marks. And then for getting good marks, well, if it is the online examination and if cheating is possible by deceiving others, nobody will be able to come to know that I am a cheater. Then I won't hesitate cheating others. Now, this is something which is happening. I want my pleasure. I want my happiness at any cost. If we go to that extent, then it is very difficult to become Sura. Not even Sura, but we may not be even a good human person. We are Asuras. And when we are in the midst of Asuras, actually everything is in danger. My point is that when Gurudev says that to have the experience of God realization, it is like a Raja Vidya. It is a Raja Guhya. It is Pavitra. And he says that when that takes place, when the Guru is there, and the importance of Guru, I always used to teach my PhD students. I said Guru is required not only in spirituality, but Guru is also very, very essential when we are enhancing our knowledge. And there also, moral preparation is very essential. It is developing one's capacities, capabilities in cognitive, emotive dimensions. No doubt that by by getting initiation, we get our cognitive, and emotive capacities developed. And that Gurudev Ranade puts it as a verification of the experience, the divine experience. My point is here that when it is the moral preparation and the duty-centric approach, that duty-centric approach, I'm reminded of the writings of Mahadev Govinda Ranade. Mahadev Govinda Ranade, 19th century, who wrote on the saints of Maharashtra and his Dharma par Vyakhyane, where he again and again speaks about the duty centricity. And he says that the saints have taught us not to live for pleasures, but to live for sacrifice. And it is giving up of ahankara. You know, till almost the first half of 19th century, the Indian citizens were completely unaware of that we also have rights. They only were told that we are born, we have only duties to perform. In Sanskrit, there is no word for rights as such. The idea of human rights is absent here, and that is why in the Upanishads it is said that when one sacrifices one's pleasures, then the others are able to enjoy it. Tena tyaptena bhunjitaha. And this is that the purification of the inner mind is possible when buddhi, ahankara and manas are purified. And then it is like preparing a ground to meet the appropriate guru. You know, to meet the spiritual master is not an easy thing. You are all fortunate that you are in this path of sadhana, and you are trying to contribute to the good of others, and therefore this particular principle, that by principle of morality, this principle of morality is very, very significant. And the sages who practice Rita, when they experience the Mahan Rita, they become one with the universe. And Gurudev Ranade has commented on all compositions of Tukaram and Dhaneshwar. And plus he had also stated that he himself had all those experiences. One who lives for others, one who is not caring for one's own pleasure, one who is expressing gratitude to everything, all the five natural elements, to human persons, to entire universe. And that is how it is said that the saints become Vishwakar. Tukaram Maharaj says, Anuraniya Thokada, Tuka Akasha Yevada. Or even in Pasayadana, Dhaneshwara says, Ata Vishwatmake Deve Yene Vagyadne Toshave. And then it is this respect for Rita actually culminates into the prayer, Zoze Vanchila Tote Laho Pranijata. Showing grace, benevolence, divine light, and showering the divine light on the entire world are the saints. And Gurudev Ranade is not only a professor of philosophy, but a saint who always cared for such a morally enlightened universe and human persons morally enlightened, so that this Vishwa only will be the abode of the divinity, abode of the grace, abode of that for which the saints have offered prayers, like Dhaneshwara offering prayer in his Pasayadana. So, we are so grateful to a modern philosopher and a person who has shown and enlightened the path of sadhana. While teaching in the university, we do not talk about much sadhana part of it, but I always put it before my students, the important part of elevation of the character. And it is this character which takes a human person on further heights. And whosoever you may be, or whosoever we may be, if we have good moral character, then we can climb the ladder in the upwards direction. We will be able to understand better why is it that Saint Tukaram says that I'm smaller than the smallest, I'm smaller than the atom, but at the same time I'm all pervading and I'm bigger than all pervading Akasha. So Anuraniya Thokada Tuka Akasha Yevada. I complete my presentation with all my humble prayer to Gurudev Ranade that Vede Vakude Gaina Pari Tuzachi Manavina. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shubhada madam. Shirley sir.
Sir.
There are few minutes to go. Would you like to add a few?
Yeah. One announcement I would like to make at this juncture. We heard a wonderful talk of Professor Shubhada Joshi, and vote of thanks will take place later on. Meanwhile, I would like to announce one event, next event, that next international web series, next lecture would be by Jitendra Sharma from America. It would be on 26th March 22 at 6:30 p.m. And the subject confirmed by Professor Jitendra Sharma sir is a scientist's perspective of philosophy and spirituality. At appropriate time, the academy will communicate the subject matter, date, time, and everything of the next web lecture series. I'm very happy that Professor Shubhada Joshi has, in fact, delivered a wonderful lecture on Gurudev's perspective of especially moral and ethical preparation to walk towards the spiritual life. Gurudev Ranade always used to tell one thing, that mysticism is a way of spiritual life which binds all humanity together. And always used to tell one thing, that no real mystic usually gives expression to his own experience. But the greatest contribution of Gurudev Dr. R.D.Ranade to the world of philosophy and spirituality is that he has written mystical experiences, that is the mystical literature of all the saints of India, especially Maharashtra saints, Hindi saints, and Karnataka saints. We will try our level best from our academy to arrange such national and international scholars to come on our web series and share with us to the younger generation about the philosophy, spirituality, and how we can adopt those principles in our personal life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear listener. Before calling it a day, I request Vijay Lakshmi Jirli to propose a vote of thanks.
Very warm good evening to one and all present here. So now we have reached at the end of the first lecture of web series. And as Dr. Nair mentioned, it is very important milestones in the activities of ACPR. So today we have here Dr. Shubhada Joshi, who is a former head of department of University of Mumbai for the philosophical department. It is my pleasure to thank her from all the participants from all the committee of ACPR. It was wonderful to listen to her today. Wonderfully put forward the works of Gurudev Ranade on Vedas and Upanishads, and again her own views on these aspects again. So she even could cover like the search of Guru, journey from Nara to Sura, and the importance of ethics in one's human species actually, and the duty toward a scientific touch to in the philosophical world actually. So it was a very combination of everything about the philosophy and the scientific touch, Gurudev Ranade's teachings, and even she mentioned about the Maharashtra saints also. So it was very wonderful to listen to her today. So a very thankful greetings from one and all present here. So thank you, Dr. Shubhada Joshi, madam. And then again, I would like to thank Dr. Nair here for giving a wonderful explanation or wonderful introduction about Dr. Shubhada Joshi. It was very glad to know from his speech that, you know, she is so well experienced. From 40 years, she is into the teaching of philosophy for various students. And then she's teaching, she's even guiding the PhD students here. So thank you so much, Dr. Nair here. And then a very thankful greetings to Dr. Subramaniam Bhatt sir for making this event happen, for giving wonderful introduction about everyone present here. And thank you all the participants present here today for making your presence and taking out your time to listen to doctor, and then take the journey in a spiritual path. And lastly but not the least, thank you so much, Advocate M. Bijli, for being the backbone of all the activities that are happening in ACPR. So I would like to close this vote of thanks with the Jai Shri Gurudev note. Thank you everyone.
Jai Shri Gurudev.
Jai Shri.
Thank you, one and all.
Jai Shri Gurudev.
Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
It was nice.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
So
Thank you. Wonderful.
Let us call it a day.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nair one phone. ಅವ್ರ ದಾರಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ನಿಂತವ್ರು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಯಾರ. ನನಗೊಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ರಪ್ಪ. ನೀ ಶಣೆ ಇದೆಯೋ